So friends, Donald Trump has now been arraigned on a federal criminal indictment for his classified documents crimes, for obstructing justice, as well as other offenses. So today begins the federal edition of the Trump trials. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, former President Donald Trump has been arraigned on 37 criminal charges, and so begins in earnest the federal edition of the Trump trials. So friends, I see the Trump trials as a stress test of sorts. A stress test for our criminal justice system. Can our system handle fairly, efficiently, effectively, and justly the criminal prosecution of a former president of the United States? Let's start with the recent reporting from the New York Times. Headline, Trump arraignment. Trump pleads not guilty in documents case. Donald Trump, the first former president to be charged with federal crimes, left court in Miami after being arraigned on 37 counts related to his handling of classified documents. The special counsel who brought the case, Jack Smith, was also in court. Former President Donald Trump pleaded not guilty in federal court in Miami on Tuesday to criminal charges that he risked disclosure of defense secrets and obstructed the government's efforts to reclaim classified documents he took with him upon leaving office. After arriving from his nearby Doral resort, Mr. Trump was booked and escorted into a 13th floor courtroom at the Wilkie D. Ferguson Jr. U.S. Courthouse in downtown Miami in a scene as surreal as it was momentous. So friends, I'll talk in a few minutes about the relatively few specifics that were discussed and resolved at Trump's arraignment hearing. But first, let me talk about my assessment. My assessment of the results of today's stress test of the criminal justice system were mixed. Now, no doubt, Donald Trump has been charged, has been indicted. He has now been arraigned on those charges, on that indictment. And that is a very good thing for our nation. Indeed, that, I think, was an indispensable first step if we care about the health and vitality, indeed the continued viability of our democracy. But, given what played out today in court, as we'll discuss in a minute, I think the patient's blood pressure is elevated. When I say the patient, I mean the criminal justice system. The patient's blood pressure was elevated significantly due to a lack of justice oxygen, in my opinion. So what do I mean by that? Well, any other human being on the planet who repeatedly violated our nation's espionage laws, compromised our nation's national security, unlawfully took and retained highly classified documents containing some of our nation's most closely guarded secrets, and then unlawfully retained them in violation of not only requests by the National Archives, by the FBI, by DOJ officials, but wrongfully withheld them, unlawfully withheld them in violation of a grand jury subpoena in a criminal investigation. Anybody else who committed those kinds of crimes against the United States and we the people would have been ordered, detained, pending trial today. Anybody else. Why? Because Donald Trump is a danger to the community. He's a danger to our democracy. I don't think a reasonable argument can be made that he's not a danger to the community, to our democracy. And yet, Donald Trump waltzed into court, waltzed out, seemingly with nary a care in the world, and was off to one of his other third-rate resorts to fundraise. So friends, by way of comparison, let's look at a recent case, a most recent case, involving a defendant who was indicted and arraigned for crimes that included mishandling classified documents, mishandling national defense information, some of the same type of documents and materials that Donald Trump was involved in unlawfully handling and obtaining and concealing from the federal government. This case involves a 21-year-old National Guardsman by the name of Jack Teixeira, and here's a recent headline in his criminal case. Pentagon leaks suspect Jack Teixeira ordered detained ahead of trial. And that article reads in part, the 21-year-old member of the Massachusetts Air National Guard charged in connection with the leaked documents probe has been ordered detained ahead of his trial. Teixeira was arrested in mid-April and has been charged with unauthorized retention and transmission of national defense information, as well as willful retention of classified documents. That's right, some of the very same crimes that Donald Trump committed and on which Donald Trump was just arraigned. You know, friends, if you watch my daily Justice Matters videos, you probably know that I'm kind of a justice glass half full kind of guy. But, you know, it's got to be equal justice. Equal justice for the powerful and the powerless. Equal justice for the influential and for those with no influence at all. Equal justice for the connected and those who are entirely unconnected. Equal justice for the wealthy and the poor. Not that Jack Teixeira shouldn't be jailed pending trial. He should be, because a judge concluded that he poses a danger to the community. But Donald Trump should also have been detained pending trial, in my opinion, because he is a greater danger to the community. And because justice matters. Equal justice matters. Friends, I don't want to be a downer because today was an important day, a historic day. A criminal former president has now been arraigned for multiple crimes, and a trial date will soon be set. The process will move forward, and as I have been saying all along, he will be convicted, he will be sentenced, and I believe he will be imprisoned. And we will be here for every minute of it, bringing to you daily videos, trying to unravel and explain the legal developments of the day. And friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.